Right now, with the recent cuts to arts funding, how do you as artists feel can you still continue your art? Like, are you dependent on arts funding? In which case, like, if you are dependent, is that like, how is that going to change in what you do as an artist? So
I have something that I want to put in there. As an emerging artist, somebody who graduated art school in the last couple of years and has had some awesome opportunities, I still am very concerned by this turn in arts funding, and I would love to stay in the arts, but I feel like there's not much future for me specifically in it. And so I have kind of put arts to the back burner. And I am currently in school for renovation because I know that housing is a stable economy, and I know that I can get a stable job in that field, probably as a carpenter, and then do creative work on the side. But that is still, like, it's very disheartening to have to make that decision, because I could do very wonderful things in the arts if there was a supportive economy for that for young people who are emerging artists.
Yeah, and for me especially, like, being a newcomer and looking for support to start my own little thing, be it art practice or as an arts administrator, for which I studied recently, I was looking forward to a better 2018 and even a much better 2019, which, with all this recent news of cuts in the funding and stuff, has made me rethink my decision of have I made the right move? Am I in the right place? Though I love this place completely, I love the people. I know this is my work has been appreciated, encouraged, but then it doesn't work without money in there. Right?
Yeah.
I can't produce art without money in there. So
I like to say something about that as well, because there's a lot of there's the question of how are artists going to be paid now, and it's not because, like, not all artists get grants, but a lot of artists work with organizations that receive grants, and how are those organizations going to be able to pay the artists now that funding is becoming more and more scarce? So that is a huge concern.
Yes, it is.
I think I found that part of the challenge, I think, for a lot of the funding bodies as well, has been just culturally even justifying their existence, because I've seen, like, arts administrators who have been spending a lot of their time trying to make the translation of the value of art into terms that others in business or others in government would be able to understand, and I understand the necessity of that. And with that said, I think what it's been forcing me to do in the last couple of years is really try to, as I was saying before, expand what my practice is about. So to say that actually you'd like to just put it into this narrow field of art, but you know what? It actually touches on a lot of other places in society, and we're looking at a lot of other things. How do we build a city? How do we live as citizens? What does that mean to be? And in how we start to define those relationships, I think, and how we choose to define our practice, I think, can open up some interesting avenues for funding. And because this, as I said, I've been doing this for a long time, and at various points it's gone really, really well financially. At points I've been dependent on my partner. But I recognize that the ground is shifting, and it's shifting dramatically. Our value is not in question. But the question, I think, is how do we communicate that value in a way that the rest of the society around us understands?
It's also about improvisation through arts, is what I want to say again and again. Like, art is so powerful tool that we can all come together and talk on this and even work on ground about this whole issue. I think there has been enough of talks already. Now is the time to act, or at least take an initiative. And what's that initiative is the question, right? How do you go there? What's the way? How do you reach and talk or discuss on table with those politicians or officers or whoever that person is, right? I think we have to understand or build in those skills along with being an artist. Like as he said, art is just a very small thing that we are looking at. We have to open up and look at the wider perspective of the whole thing.
Yeah.